The notification sound from our shared tablet made me look up from my laptop. Dana had left it open on the kitchen counter, probably rushing off to film another authentic morning routine for her Instagram followers. What I saw on the screen made my coffee taste like ash. Ghost him for a month. He'll crawl back and obey like a trained dog. That was my wife's message in a group chat with her 3 best friends. My hands trembled as I scrolled up through weeks of messages I'd never seen before. Eric's been getting too comfortable lately. Time to remind him who holds the power in this relationship. Dana had written just yesterday. Jenna replied with laughing emojis. Girl, you're evil, but it works every time. Men are so predictable. Maya chimed in. Make him think you're losing interest. Then when you come back, he'll do anything to keep you happy. It's like training a puppy. Kate added, My sister did this to her husband. Now he buys her whatever she wants and never questions where she goes. I set the tablet down carefully, my mind racing. We'd been married for 3 years. 3 years of what I thought was genuine love, but apparently was just psychological manipulation disguised as a picture-perfect relationship for social media. Dana was a lifestyle influencer with 40,000 followers who hung on her every word about authentic living and relationship goals. Our apartment was always camera-ready, our conversations scripted for her stories, our entire life curated for content. I'd supported her dream, working extra hours as a software developer to pay for her ring lights and designer outfits while she built her brand. But this chat revealed the truth behind her recent coldness, the way she'd been pulling away, canceling our plans, responding to my texts with one-word answers. It wasn't stress from work or creative burnout like she'd claimed. It was a calculated campaign to break me down. I heard her key in the door and quickly closed the tablet, returning to my laptop as if nothing had happened. Hey babe, Dana called out, but her voice lacked any warmth. She didn't even look at me as she walked past, already pulling out her phone to check her metrics from this morning's post. How was the gym? I asked, keeping my tone normal. Fine. She grabbed a green smoothie from the fridge, one of 12 identical ones she'd made yesterday for her Meal Prep Monday content. I'm going to Sarah's tonight for dinner. Girls' night. Sarah. That was Maya's real name. So they were probably meeting to discuss phase 2 of their little psychological experiment. Okay, I said simply. Have fun. She paused, clearly expecting me to ask more questions, maybe show some jealousy or neediness. When I didn't, she frowned slightly, but said nothing. After she left that evening, I opened the tablet again and read through months of messages. The pattern was clear and sickening. Dana had been running these manipulation games on me from the very beginning of our relationship, with her friends cheering her on like some twisted support group. They called it maintaining frame and keeping him invested. They shared tips about creating artificial scarcity, using social media to make their partners jealous, and something they called dread game, making their husbands worry they might leave. But the worst part was how they talked about us, about me. Eric's so pathetic when he tries to be romantic, Dana had written after our last anniversary dinner. But the more effort he puts in, the less I have to do. It's actually perfect. Jenna responded, You've got him so well trained. Remember when you first started dating and he had some backbone? Now he just follows you around like a lost puppy. The best part is he pays for everything while I build my brand, Dana replied. I'm basically getting paid to have a boyfriend. I closed the tablet and sat in the dark for a long time, thinking. They thought I was weak, pathetic, easily manipulated. They thought I'd crawl back no matter how badly Dana treated me. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The next morning, I started making preparations. I opened a new bank account at a different institution and began quietly transferring money from our joint accounts, money I'd earned from countless overtime hours while Dana played influencer. I changed the passwords on all my personal accounts and removed her access to my credit cards. When Dana came home from another spontaneous girls' brunch, she found me packing a suitcase. Going somewhere? she asked with fake casual interest. Business trip, I lied smoothly. Last-minute thing, I'll be gone for 2 weeks. Her eyes lit up. 2 weeks would be perfect for her ghosting plan. She could disappear completely and let me stew in confusion and desperation. Oh, she said, trying to sound disappointed. That's too bad. I was thinking we should spend more time together soon. The manipulation was so transparent now that I almost laughed. Instead, I just nodded and continued packing. I'll miss you, I said, playing my part one last time. She smiled, the first genuine smile she'd given me in weeks, because she thought her plan was working perfectly. The next 2 weeks were the most liberating of my adult life. Instead of going on any business trip, I'd rented a furnished apartment across town and was systematically dismantling the life Dana thought she controlled. She'd blocked me on social media and wasn't responding to my texts, part of her ghosting strategy. Her friends were probably telling her how well it was working, how desperate and confused I must be. If they'd bothered to check, they would have seen that I wasn't trying very hard to reach her. I spent my days at work as usual, but my evenings were dedicated to preparation. I hired a lawyer and filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. I hired movers for the day Dana was supposed to return from her content retreat, which I knew from tracking our shared credit card was actually a romantic getaway with someone named Aiden, who owned a high-end gym downtown. Yes, I'd figured out about her affair too. It wasn't hard once I started paying attention. The mysterious charges at expensive restaurants when she claimed to be eating salads at home. The new lingerie that never appeared in our bedroom. The way she'd started going to a gym 40 minutes away when there were 3 closer options. Aiden posted constantly on Instagram. Shirtless photos, motivational quotes, pictures of his expensive car and designer watches. He was everything Dana thought she wanted, flashy, confident, and completely self-absorbed. They deserved each other. My friend Tom helped me move my belongings out of the apartment. We worked efficiently, taking only what was mine and leaving everything else exactly as it was. You sure about this? Tom asked as we loaded my computer equipment into his truck. This seems pretty extreme. Read this, I said, showing him screenshots of the group chat. His expression darkened as he scrolled through the messages. Jesus, Eric, she's been playing you this whole time. For 3 years, I confirmed. Every fight, every makeup, every romantic gesture I made, it was all just content for her and entertainment for her friends. What about her stuff, her ring lights and camera equipment? I smiled grimly. That stays. She bought all of that with money from our joint account, money I earned. Consider it severance pay for 3 years of unpaid acting in her social media production. We finished moving by noon. The apartment looked exactly the same except for the absence of my clothes, my books, my computer setup, and my furniture. To a casual observer, it might not be immediately obvious that anything was missing. But Dana would notice. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen counter next to a simple note. I learned my place. Far from you. Then I waited. Dana's content retreat was supposed to last another 3 days, but I knew she'd come back early once she realized her ghosting wasn't having the desired effect. She'd want to check on me, maybe catch me in a moment of weakness she could exploit. My phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on Tuesday. Dana's contact photo, a selfie of us from our honeymoon that now made me nauseous, lit up the screen. I let it ring. She called 6 more times that night. I didn't answer any of them. The next morning brought a series of increasingly frantic text messages. Eric, where are you? Your stuff is gone. What's happening? We need to talk. This is crazy. I found the papers. You can't be serious. Call me back. I blocked her number and went to work. That evening, she was waiting in the lobby of my office building. She looked terrible. Hair unwashed, no makeup, wearing sweatpants instead of her usual carefully curated outfit. Several people recognized her from Instagram and were taking pictures. but she didn't seem to notice or care. "Eric!" She rushed toward me as I exited the elevator. "Thank God. I've been trying to reach you for 2 days." "I got your messages," I said calmly, walking toward the exit. She followed, practically jogging to keep up. "Then why didn't you answer? I come home and half our stuff is gone. There are divorce papers on the counter and you've disappeared. What the hell is going on?" I stopped walking and turned to face her. "You ghosted me, remember? I thought that meant we weren't talking." Her face went pale. "What?" "The group chat, Dana. Ghost him for a month. He'll crawl back and obey like a trained dog. Ring any bells?" She stared at me in shock, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "You read my private messages? You left the tablet open, but that's what you're worried about? Not that you've been psychologically manipulating me for 3 years, but that I found out about it?" People were starting to stare. A few had their phones out, recording. Dana's public image was built on being the perfect girlfriend, and this scene was definitely off-brand. "Can we please talk about this privately?" she whispered. "Why? Afraid your followers might see the real you?" I gestured to the phones pointed in our direction. "Don't worry, I'm sure they'll understand. Everyone loves authentic content." I walked away, leaving her standing there as strangers continued filming her breakdown. The next few days brought a delicious form of chaos that I watched unfold from the safety of my new apartment. Dana's social media presence, so carefully maintained for years, began cracking under the pressure of real life intruding on her curated fantasy. She'd built her brand on being the perfect girlfriend who shared relationship tips and couple goals content. But now she was clearly single, and her followers were asking questions she couldn't answer without admitting the truth. "Where's Eric been lately?" someone commented on her latest post, a generic motivational quote about embracing change. "Are you guys okay? Haven't seen him in your stories for weeks," wrote another. Dana tried to deflect with vague responses about focusing on personal growth and exciting new chapters, but her engagement was dropping. Her followers could sense something was off. Meanwhile, I'd done some research on Aiden. It wasn't hard to find information about someone who posted his entire life online. He owned 2 gyms, drove a leased Porsche he couldn't actually afford, and had a pattern of dating women with social media followings. Dana was just his latest conquest, though she probably thought she was special. I decided it was time to introduce myself. Aiden's main gym was in an upscale part of downtown, all glass and chrome with motivational slogans painted on the walls. I signed up for a day pass and arrived during the busy evening rush when the place was packed with people working out and socializing. Aiden was easy to spot. He was exactly what you'd expect from his Instagram photos. Tall, muscular, wearing expensive workout clothes and a watch that cost more than most people's cars. He was leading a group fitness class, barking instructions at a dozen sweaty followers who hung on his every word. I waited until the class ended and approached him as he was toweling off. "Great class," I said with a friendly smile. "You're Aiden, right? I've heard a lot about you." He looked confused but pleased by the attention. "Thanks, man. You thinking about joining? We've got some great membership packages." "Actually, I wanted to thank you personally," I continued, speaking loudly enough that several nearby gym members could hear. "You've been such a help with my wife Dana's fitness journey. All those private training sessions have really paid off." His face went white as he realized who I was. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Sure you do," I replied cheerfully. "Dana Mitchell, the Instagram influencer? You two have been working out together for months. She's told me so much about your technique." Several people were openly listening now, including a few who clearly recognized Dana's name from social media. "Look, man, I think there's been some misunderstanding." "Oh, there's been a misunderstanding, all right," I interrupted. "But not on my part. See, Dana thought she was playing some clever game, ghosting her husband to make him more obedient. What she didn't realize is that some of us prefer honesty to manipulation. I pulled out my phone and showed him a screenshot of Dana's group chat messages. Recognize this conversation? She shared some interesting details about your relationship. Very authentic content. Aiden's jaw tightened. You need to leave, now. I'm a paying customer, I said innocently. Just trying to get my money's worth. Speaking of money, how much does Dana pay for those private sessions? Or is that part of the service included in her membership? A few people snickered. Aiden looked around nervously, clearly aware that his reputation was being damaged in front of potential customers. Security, he called out. No need, I said, heading toward the exit. I got what I came for. Oh, and Aiden? You might want to check Dana's social media. I think her brand is about to pivot in an exciting new direction. I left him standing there, red-faced and furious, while his gym members whispered among themselves about what they'd just witnessed. That evening, I created a fake Instagram account and began following some of Dana's friends and frequent commenters. I wanted to see how the news would spread through her social circle. It didn't take long. By the next morning, several people were posting cryptic messages about fake friends and people who aren't what they seem. Someone had clearly started talking. Dana posted a long, rambling caption about dealing with negativity and people trying to tear you down when you're successful. The comments section was brutal. Is this about your husband leaving you? Girl, we saw the video from downtown. What's really going on? Why are you being so fake lately? Where's Eric? You can't just pretend he never existed. She was losing followers by the hundreds. Brands that had sponsored her content were probably reconsidering their partnerships. Her carefully constructed influencer empire was collapsing in real time. But I wasn't done yet. The real damage came when Dana's friend group imploded. I'd been monitoring the group chat through the tablet. Dana hadn't thought to remove my access, probably because she'd forgotten I even knew about it. The messages revealed growing tension among the four women. Kate had apparently seen the video of Dana's breakdown outside my office building and was having second thoughts about their manipulation tactics. Maybe we pushed this too far, Kate wrote. Eric seemed like a decent guy. This whole thing feels kind of cruel now. Maya responded immediately. Don't go soft now. Dana's better off without him if he can't handle a little relationship management. A little relationship management? Kate shot back. We told her to ghost her own husband for a month. That's not normal relationship behavior. Jenna tried to play peacekeeper. Let's just support Dana right now. She's going through a lot. But Dana was spiraling. Her messages became increasingly erratic and self-pitying. I can't believe he actually left me. This wasn't supposed to happen. My follower count is dropping every day. Brands are pulling out of deals. Aiden won't return my calls since that psycho showed up at his gym. I might have to move back in with my parents. I can't afford the rent without Eric. That last message gave me an idea. I'd been paying the rent on our apartment for 3 years, but the lease was in both our names. I called the landlord and explained that I was moving out due to divorce proceedings, and that Dana would need to qualify for the lease on her own income going forward. Her influencer earnings, while decent, weren't nearly enough to cover the rent on our upscale apartment. Without my software developer salary, she'd be forced to find somewhere much cheaper or move back home to Ohio. The next phase of my plan required some help, so I called Tom. I need you to do something that might seem a little crazy, I told him over drinks at a bar near my new place. Crazier than secretly moving out while your wife was cheating on you? He asked with a grin. I want you to ask Maya out. Tom nearly choked on his beer. Dana's friend Maya, the one who helped plan this whole manipulation scheme? Are you insane? Hear me out, I said. Maya's single, she's attractive, and she loves dating guys she thinks she can control. You're perfect for her type. Thanks for the backhanded compliment, Tom said dryly. But why would I want to date someone like that? Because you're going to record your conversations with her. Maya loves to gossip and brag about her manipulation tactics. Get her talking about what they did to me, maybe some stories about other guys they've targeted. We'll have everything documented. Tom considered this. That's actually pretty brilliant and completely legal since I'd be recording my own conversations. Exactly. Plus, Maya's the ringleader of this whole thing. She's the one who came up with most of the psychological manipulation strategies. If we can expose her methods, it'll destroy the entire group dynamic. What about Dana? Dana's already destroying herself, I said. Her social media is hemorrhaging followers, her income is disappearing, and she's about to lose the apartment. I don't need to do anything else to her. She's facing the natural consequences of her choices. And Aiden? I smiled. I'm saving the best for last. Tom agreed to the plan, and within a week, he'd managed to get Maya's attention through Instagram. She was immediately interested. Tom was good-looking, had a stable job, and seemed like the kind of guy she could easily manipulate. Their first date went exactly as I'd predicted. Maya spent the entire evening bragging about her relationship expertise and sharing stories about the men she and her friends had trained over the years. Tom recorded everything. The key is making them think it's their idea, Maya explained over expensive wine that Tom was paying for. Like with Dana's husband Eric, we convinced her to ghost him completely, make him desperate for her attention. Most guys would have been begging her to come back within a week. What went wrong? Tom asked innocently. He turned out to be more of a psychopath than we realized, Maya said with a bitter laugh. Instead of crawling back, he divorced her and destroyed her entire life. Some men just can't handle strong women who know what they want. The recordings were even better than I'd hoped. Maya detailed their manipulation tactics with scientific precision, completely unaware that she was confessing to emotional abuse. She also revealed that they'd targeted at least 6 other men over the past 2 years, treating relationships like some kind of psychological experiment. But the most damaging revelation came during their third date, when Maya had too much wine and started sharing details about Dana's affair with Aiden. Dana thinks she's so smart, playing Eric and Aiden against each other, Maya slurred into Tom's hidden recorder. But Aiden's already cheating on her with some 22-year-old yoga instructor. Dana has no idea. It's actually hilarious. That's kind of cruel, Tom said, playing his role perfectly. Cruel? It's natural selection, Maya laughed. Dana thought she could manipulate everyone around her, but she's not as smart as she thinks. None of us are going to tell her about Aiden's side piece. It'll be funnier when she finds out on her own. That recording was pure gold. Not only did it expose Maya's callous attitude toward her supposed best friend, but it revealed another layer of deception in Dana's already crumbling life. I had everything I needed for the final phase of my revenge. The confrontation came sooner than I expected. Dana had apparently been asking around, trying to find my new address. She showed up at my apartment on a Saturday morning, looking desperate and disheveled. "We need to talk," she said when I opened the door. "No, we don't," I replied calmly. "Our lawyers can handle everything from here. Eric, please. I know I made mistakes, but we can work through this. I love you." The word love, coming from her mouth after everything I'd learned, was almost insulting. "You love me?" I asked. "Is that why you spent 3 years psychologically manipulating me with help from your friends? Is that why you cheated on me with Aiden? Is that why you ghosted me as part of some sick power play?" Her face crumpled. "I know how it looks, but it wasn't like that. I was scared of losing you, so I listened to bad advice from my friends." "Bad advice?" I pulled out my phone and played one of Tom's recordings of Maya. Her friend's voice filled the hallway, describing their manipulation tactics in clinical detail. Dana's eyes widened in shock. "How did you get that?" "Maya's been very chatty with her new boyfriend," I said. "Did you know she thinks you're pathetic? Did you know she's been laughing about Aiden cheating on you with his yoga instructor?" The color drained from Dana's face. "What?" "Your best friend has been watching you get played by your affair partner and thought it was hilarious. Some friendship." Dana started crying, ugly, desperate sobs that might have moved me once upon a time. Now they just seemed like another manipulation tactic. "I can change," she pleaded. "I'll cut them off. I'll delete my social media. We can start over." "Start over?" I laughed bitterly. "Dana, you spent 3 years treating our marriage like a social media performance and our relationship like a psychological experiment. You cheated on me, lied to me, and tried to emotionally abuse me into submission. What exactly would we be starting over from?" "I never meant to hurt you." "Yes, you did," I interrupted. "That was literally the point. You and your friends sat around planning ways to hurt me, to break down my confidence, to make me desperate for your approval. You meant to hurt me. You just didn't mean to get caught." She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "The divorce papers are final next week," I said. "Don't contact me again." I closed the door and listened to her sob in the hallway for 10 minutes before finally leaving. But Dana wasn't ready to give up. Over the next few days, she enlisted her remaining friends to help her win me back. Jenna started showing up at places I was known to frequent. Kate sent me long text messages about how sorry Dana was and how much she'd changed. Even Maya tried to reach out, apparently unaware that her conversations with Tom had been recorded. "Eric, I know you're angry, but Dana really loves you," Maya said in a voicemail that I immediately forwarded to Tom for his amusement. "She made some mistakes, but we all do things we regret when we're in love." The audacity was breathtaking. Maya had spent months coaching Dana on how to manipulate me, and now she was trying to manipulate me herself. But their campaign backfired spectacularly when I decided to go public with the evidence. I created a simple website called The Ghost Protocol and uploaded carefully edited excerpts from the group chat, Maya's recorded confessions, and a timeline of Dana's manipulation tactics. I didn't include anything illegal or overly personal, just enough to show the pattern of emotional abuse and the calculated nature of their behavior. Then, I shared the link on every social media platform I could think of. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Dana's remaining followers turned on her en masse, her comment sections filled with people calling her out for being fake and manipulative. Screenshots of the group chat spread across Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. But the real damage came when other men started coming forward with their own stories. Maya's boast about targeting 6 other guys turned out to be conservative. There were dozens of men who'd been manipulated by Dana's friend group over the years. A local news station picked up the story, framing it as an investigation into social media manipulation and emotional abuse in modern relationships. Dana's face was plastered across the evening news as an example of influencer culture gone wrong. Her remaining brand partnerships evaporated overnight. Her social media accounts were flooded with negative comments and harassment reports. She was forced to make her profiles private, effectively ending her influencer career. Maya, Jenna, and Kate all faced similar backlash as their involvement became public knowledge. The group chat that had once been their private space for planning psychological warfare became evidence of their coordinated emotional abuse. But I still wasn't finished with Aiden. Aiden had been laying low since our encounter at his gym, probably hoping the drama would blow over. But I'd been monitoring his social media, and I knew he was still seeing both Dana and his yoga instructor side piece. The yoga instructor, a 22-year-old named Brittany, had no idea about Dana. And Dana, despite Maya's cruel prediction, still hadn't figured out that Aiden was cheating on her too. I decided to help them both discover the truth. Aiden posted constantly about his workouts, his meals, his expensive purchases, and his locations. It was easy to track his patterns and figure out when he was with which woman. On Tuesday and Thursday evenings, he posted from Dana's new cheap apartment across town. She'd been forced to move after failing to qualify for our old lease. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons, he posted from an upscale yoga studio where Brittany taught classes. I created fake social media accounts for both women and began following Aiden's activities closely. Then I started leaving anonymous comments on his posts. When he posted a photo of an expensive dinner on Tuesday night, I commented from the fake Britney account. Looks delicious. Wish I could have joined you, but I know you were busy with work stuff. When he posted gym selfies on Wednesday, I commented from the fake Dana account. Looking good, babe. Can't wait to see you tonight. The comments created a timeline that made it obvious he was seeing multiple women, but Aiden was too narcissistic to notice the implications. He just enjoyed the attention. The real breakthrough came when I discovered that both women had access to Aiden's Netflix account. I could see when each of them was watching shows, and their viewing patterns revealed the truth about his schedule. I sent anonymous messages to both of them with screenshots showing the overlapping viewing times and locations. Thought you should know that your boyfriend is sharing his Netflix with another woman. Check the viewing history. She's watching shows at the same times you are, just on different days. Dana figured it out first. She confronted Aiden during one of his Tuesday visits, and their fight was loud enough that her neighbors complained. Someone recorded the argument through thin apartment walls and posted it on TikTok. "You're cheating on me with some yoga snake?" Dana screamed, her voice distorted by rage and the poor audio quality. "It's not what you think," Aiden tried to explain. "I saw the Netflix history, you lying piece of shit. She's been watching shows on your account for months." "Dana, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. I left my husband for you. I destroyed my entire life for you." The recording went viral within hours. Dana's former followers shared it gleefully, celebrating the downfall of someone they now viewed as a manipulative fraud. The comments were brutal. "Karma is beautiful. This is what happens when you cheat. She destroyed her marriage for this guy? The secondhand embarrassment is real." Brittany saw the TikTok video and immediately dumped Aiden via Instagram story, posting screenshots of their text conversations where he'd claimed to be single. Within 24 hours, Aiden had lost both women and gained thousands of negative comments on his social media accounts. His gym's Google reviews were flooded with one-star ratings from people calling him a cheater and liar. But the final blow came when someone dug into his business finances and discovered that his flashy lifestyle was funded entirely by debt. The leased Porsche, the expensive watches, the designer clothes, all of it was borrowed money that he couldn't actually afford. His creditors started calling in their debts. The Porsche was repossessed. His gym faced foreclosure proceedings. His entire influencer persona collapsed when people realized it was all fake. Dana, meanwhile, had hit rock bottom. Her social media career was over, her affair had ended in public humiliation, her friend group had disbanded in mutual recrimination, and she was living in a studio apartment she could barely afford. She made one last attempt to contact me, sending a handwritten letter to my office since I'd blocked all her digital communications. "Eric," the letter began, "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to understand that I never meant for things to go this far. I was insecure and stupid, and I listened to people who gave me terrible advice. I lost the best thing in my life because I was too proud and too scared to just be honest with you. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know that's impossible now. I'm just asking you to believe that somewhere underneath all the manipulation and lies, there was a part of me that really did love you. I'm sorry for everything." I read the letter twice, then threw it away. There might have been a part of Dana that loved me, but there was a much larger part that saw me as a tool to be used for her benefit. The love, if it ever existed, had been overwhelmed by narcissism, manipulation, and a complete lack of empathy for my feelings. She'd made her choices. Now she was living with the consequences. 2 months later, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Dana had moved back to Ohio to live with her parents. Her social media accounts remained private and inactive. Aiden had declared bankruptcy and was working as a personal trainer at a budget gym chain. Maya, Jenna, and Kate had all deactivated their social media accounts after facing continued harassment for their role in the manipulation scheme. Several of the men they'd targeted over the years had started a support group for victims of coordinated emotional abuse. As for me, I was thriving in my new life. My work performance had improved dramatically, once I was no longer walking on eggshells at home. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but it felt good to have conversations with women who weren't constantly strategizing about how to manipulate me. I kept the website up as a resource for other people who might be experiencing similar manipulation. The response had been overwhelming. Thousands of people sharing their own stories of psychological abuse disguised as relationship management. The most satisfying part wasn't the revenge itself, but the knowledge that I'd exposed a pattern of behavior that had been hurting people for years. Dana and her friends had treated emotional manipulation like a game, never considering the real damage they were causing to their victims. Now, everyone knew who they really were. On the 1-year anniversary of discovering that group chat, I received an email from a stranger named Jennifer. "I saw your website about the ghost protocol," she wrote. "My ex-boyfriend used similar tactics on me, disappearing for weeks at a time to make me desperate for his attention, then coming back and expecting me to be grateful. Reading your story helped me realize that what happened to me wasn't normal relationship behavior. It was abuse. Thank you for speaking out." Messages like that reminded me why I'd gone public with my story. It wasn't just about getting revenge on Dana and her friends. It was about warning other people about these manipulation tactics and helping victims recognize the patterns. Dana had thought she was playing a clever game, using psychological warfare to maintain power in our relationship. But games have rules, and when you break the rules, you face the consequences. She'd wanted to ghost me until I learned my place. Instead, I'd learned my worth.